Hey, welcome back to Grilling Dinner. Today I'm going to show you how I smoked this 14-pound brisket on my Camp Chef pellet smoker. So this is just a choice cut 14 and 3/4 pound brisket I picked up at the local grocery store. $1.99 a pound. I didn't expect much out of it, but we'll see what happens. I am no expert at cooking brisket. This is the first brisket I've ever done on a pellet smoker and the second brisket I've done in my life. But I've watched a lot of videos, read a lot of articles, and I want to give it a shot. I'm going to start to trim off some of this real thick, heavy fat. That's not going to render down and nobody's going to want to eat it. There's some silver skin on here, just like on a slab of ribs or venison. You just want to cut some of that off. Trim these edges up. You can see how thick that fat layer is there, sitting on the cutting board. I'm going to shave that down to about a 1/4 inch thick. Just use a sharp knife, it comes off easy. I'm taking a little bit off at a time so I don't overdo it, because I'm not an expert at this. But at the end of this, I shaved off about 3.5 pounds of fat from this 14 and 3/4 pound brisket. I'm just throwing it into a bag. I'm going to toss it into garbage. I don't have a use for it. I'm going to shave off some of this discolored meat, some kind of grayish red. I don't know if it was exposed to the air or what's going on with it, but shave it right off. It looks nice and fresh underneath of it. This is some Killer Hogs hot barbecue rub. I never used this before, so I wasn't sure how it was going to be, but I'll tell you, it turned out excellent. I'm just going to put a medium coat of this on. And end up putting it on both sides. Fill in any pockets you can find. Now we got the Killer Hogs brisket rub. I've used this before on steaks and stuff. It's good stuff. I believe it's just like a salt, pepper, garlic blend, but don't quote me on that. But it is good. You can quote me on that part. This should make a nice little bark at the end on the outside of this brisket. Once we get it all seasoned up, we're going to throw it in the refrigerator for about 12 hours. And we'll get it on the smoker. There she is. She's looking good. This is a Camp Chef 24-inch pellet smoker. I'm running Camp Chef apple pellets in this thing. We're going to put it on high smoke, which is 220 degrees according to Camp Chef. It's pretty accurate. We'll let this thing heat up. Make sure the temperature is running good, and we'll get that brisket on here. So I put the point, which is the fatter, thicker part, to the left towards the hopper. I think that's where the heat's going to come from. If not, we can turn it. So now we're 10 hours in. It's looking good after 10 hours. No spritz, nothing. Just set it on there. Here's how many pellets we used in 10 hours. Alright. It's stalled out now at about 165 degrees, so we're going to wrap it up. This is some pink or peach butcher paper. We got 2 layers overlapping each other here. I've never done this before. We're going to give it a shot. I'm just going to try to tuck it in so there's no air pockets in there. That's what I learned on YouTube. Let's see how good it works. Once we get this wrapped up, we're just going to put it right back on the smoker. Stick our Inkbird thermometer probes into it. And we're just going to let this thing go. I turned the temperature of the smoker up to 275 degrees. And we're looking to hit about 200 internal. Alright, it took us 16.5 hours, but we got up to where we need to be. I've let it rest in this cooler for 2 hours. We're going to unwrap this thing and slice it up. I'm not the best slicer, but I'm going to show you that it can be done by a new guy. And this thing is super hot after 2 hours in that cooler. It's burning my fingers through these gloves. And I chose to do this out in the garage so I don't make a mess in the kitchen and get in trouble. And for some reason, I don't know why, the paper was sticking to the bottom of the brisket. I had a hard time getting it apart. If you know what the reason was for that, leave a comment down below, because I'm not sure. And if I could avoid it next time, I want to. But we got it. Alright. Cool my fingers down. We're going to set this on the cutting board. Now you want to cut this against the grain. That way it's an easier bite when you eat it. I'm going to start out by cutting this in half. And then we're going to start cutting that flat. From what I understand, the grain pretty much runs from left to right on the flat. So we're going to slice it up the same direction, we just cut it in half. And then the point you got to turn 90 degrees and slice that. And there's juice coming out of there. I just got the camera too far away. Got a nice smoke ring on this. We're just going to slice this into however thick pieces you want. It does have a good bark. It's nice and set up on there. Speed this up a little bit. Alright. So the flat's the lean part, the point's the thicker part, it's got more fat in it. I'm going to separate the top of it from the bottom, because I believe the bottom part's still just part of the flat. If I'm wrong, let me know. Now I'm just going to butcher this thing up. But you know what? It still tastes the same. It tasted delicious, by the way. There you go. It turned out awesome. I had about 10 people at my house and they all loved it. So give it a shot. If I can do it, you can do it. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. New videos come out every weekend.